Hello, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Jody, and this is Word on the Web, and we're wearing our new name tags.
Right?
I know, it's
exciting.
official, I know. For the first time ever, Interfaith Sanctuary has name tags for their staff.
Yeah.
Well done, Nathan.
With a new color, actually.
I know.
It's the one of the colors, signature colors from the new shelter.
Yeah, I know.
So,
it's trending.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And we have been doing this for a few weeks now.
We've
learned a lot.
We're pros.
I don't know about that, but we're having fun.
Be prepared to be impressed.
Well, questions keep coming in.
Yay.
So one of the questions has to do with families. And I think when you think of shelter, and a lot of people can imagine it, the shelter program being for single individuals, but we take care of families and we keep families together.
We do, yeah.
Can you, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's part of the mission. So
Yeah.
when Interfaith Sanctuary was first founded, it was in response to a crisis where suddenly families with children had no place to go. And so when the congregations got together, they created like this moving shelter from church to church. And it was, in fact, to allow families, however they're defined, to be together. So a single dad, a mom and children, a grandmother and a mother, whatever it was, we wanted to keep those families intact.
And that, however they are defined, is another significant differentiator.
Absolutely.
with
what makes up our family,
Yeah.
you know,
How
it
we define
varies,
family.
and particularly when you're in crisis, the family unit is the thing that is the most stable part of you. So breaking up a family is pretty traumatic.
Okay, so that's how it started.
Yes, and so then when we moved into our building, which was in 2007, the shelter was set up to serve families with children on one side and then single adults on the other. We had 50 beds on the family side, all open dorms. So like we'd have, like however the family was made up, there might be a father with 2 children and a mother and father with 3 children, and like it was very village-like.
Yeah.
But it worked.
But that was built around the physical facility.
Absolutely,
What
it was what we
available.
could do
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
And during that time, one of our great case managers, her name was Christy Manning, she came to me one day and she said, I'm trying to help these families, you know, like lift them out, but because all day long they're out on the street, they're just so exhausted by the end of the day that it's really hard for me to get work done. And I would like to write a proposal to you that we create a day family program at our shelter where our families with children can stay during the day. And I'm like, that is such a great idea.
Yeah.
Write me a proposal and let's see what we can do. And so she wrote this very thoughtful proposal where it was taking into account that where does a mother change a baby's diaper out on the
Right.
street? How do they get nutritious snacks? How are babies taking naps when they have nowhere to go? And so basically, how am I supposed to make them feel better and stable? And so I want to have family programming, and I want to have parenting classes, and I want to have preschool because I can't get these kids into preschool. And I want them to be able to make snacks for their kids and things like that. So I went and I did a fundraising campaign to help us create the family daytime program, and it was Monday through Friday to start.
Okay.
And we got the funding, and we were able to add a second staff member, and within a month, like the stability of these families and what they were able to do
Yeah.
was incredible. And the kids were getting access to early education. Like many of them didn't even know how to sit at a table to have a snack because they may have been living in their car. Like it's really traumatic to
Yeah.
be unhoused as a family.
Yeah.
And so then Christy came back to me and she's like, this is great, but it's not enough because on the weekends, they don't have anywhere to be. And so like by the time they get back on Sunday night, we're kind of starting from scratch sometimes.
Right,
And so
right.
then we became a full 7-day-a-week program.
Oh, that's
And
great.
yeah, and it was a game changer for the families.
Well, we've talked many times about stability being so incredibly important to rebuild. Like to
Yes.
have a firm foundation, a stable and firm foundation to rebuild
Yes.
your life.
Yeah,
So,
which is hard work. You have a
Yes.
lot of work to
Yeah.
do. If you become unhoused, like we have to fix all of that.
yeah.
And whatever the causes were, and that takes resources and paperwork and like it's a lot.
Okay, then, so how did the family program get moved to the hotel?
So when the pandemic hit and we knew that we couldn't safely keep people 165 guests in these open dorm settings, we worked with the city of Boise to get FEMA funding. And that FEMA funding allowed us to move to the hotel shelter where we brought our families with children and our most medically fragile. And that created kind of a whole new look on how we could serve our families, because suddenly it wasn't these open dorms where there was like so many people staying together.
Right.
They each got their own hotel rooms where like they were doing the programming, having meals together and things like that, but they did have a space to go back to just be the family
Right.
unit. And we saw that that was really beneficial.
Right.
Now they had a place to be 24/7. They had a space that was theirs.
Yeah.
And you saw even more progress with us being able to move families with children into housing of their own because the trauma was so much less.
So great.
Yeah, they don't line up to get into the shelter. That like everything is just much more stable. And so now you look at us moving to the new shelter,
Yeah.
right?
So like, what does that look like then
Yeah.
in the new shelter?
The hotel inspired how we were going to serve
Okay.
families. Like when we bought that building, we definitely had in mind that like we need to take what we learned, and so the family building is separate from the main campus where the single adults are. And it has its own entry and exit, and most importantly, they are like family pods where the families get to stay in their own
A defined space.
a defined space that is
for
their
each
own.
family.
Yep.
Okay.
But
Yeah, right.
there's still that community of shared space for the teen lounge, the library. There's a classroom, the early education classroom will be able to hold preschool, and it is allowing families to receive support, but feel like they're not in a shelter. It's more like transitional housing.
Okay.
And
right.
like while you're here, we're going to do everything we can to get you to your perfect home sweet home. But this setting is going to do it in the best way possible because you've got your own space and you've also got green space and a playground.
Oh,
and
that's great. Yeah.
yeah, like everything about this new shelter allows us to serve people in just a much more beautiful, dignified way.
I can tell you, when I walked through it with you for the very first time, I just felt so proud of what Interfaith is doing for the entire population, all of the guests that we serve, but in particular the families, and the idea of keeping them together, allowing them to share a space. I just loved it.
Yeah.
It was powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a wrap for today.
I mean, I think we've wrapped it. I know that like we always like to invite our
Right.
our viewers,
Always
our
bring
loyal viewers.
more questions.
Bring
Send
more
in
questions.
your questions, and we'll continue to answer them. But I think that's a wrap for today.
Yeah, thanks for tuning
Thanks for
in to
joining.
Word on the Web.